that for product managers. So usually the podcasts that you will hear about product management are usually talking with product managers about the different concepts of product management and the things they have to deal with. In our podcast, we only focus on tools. So we try to surface all the different tools that we're using, what's available out there, etc. I also, as a side product, I also wrote a book and I published it this January. It's called The Resurrector. So I treated that, this is a fiction book. It has nothing to do with product management, but I try to apply, what I know about product management to that as well, which was a challenge because when you do something artistic, like writing a book, you think about the art, you don't think about the product. So that was like something a mind exercise and some actions that I did to help me with that, related from my background. So I told you I'm not coming from a non-technical background, I'm coming from a technical background. So can I really talk about breaking into product management from a non-tech background? And I think that I can. And the reason why I think I can is because I see in my career many different product managers that came from a non-technical background, and they're very successful with that. I see also what challenges I have as a technical person dealing with product management, that if I would have come from a non-technical background, maybe I would not have those challenges. So I will have other challenges of the technical stuff, but I based on my strength in technical background, I do see that I have other things that I have to learn. So there is never like, a perfect, you're not born with all the different things you need to know about product management. You have to learn many of them. So some of us are coming from technical backgrounds, some of us are coming from none. I've read in the past, I don't remember where, but I've read that about half of the product managers out there are coming from a non-technical background. And I believe that it's probably going to grow more in the future. So there isn't really a requirement to be technical. Some positions have that requirement because they will say it's a technical product manager, but most positions will not. So I definitely think that I can talk a lot about that. And I hope you will see in the presentation that I hope I will give you value in what I'm going to talk about. So first of all, let's talk about where product managers are coming from. So what backgrounds do they come from? And as I mentioned, I read somewhere that 50% are coming with technical background. Now, it's easy to move from a technical background to product management only because you're already there. Meaning, I've been there, I've developed many products before I was a product manager. As a developer, as a CTO of a startup, so I did many different things. Back then, I did not have a product manager, so I had to do a lot of the things that product managers do on my own. So I basically learned while doing things, and it was easier for me to transition. But even if it was easier, my first position as a product manager took me probably somewhere between 6 to 7 months to find. So it wasn't like right away I became a product manager. There is a transition there. So even if you have a technical background, it doesn't mean right away that it will be easier for you to break into product management. But again, there are other positions or other places where product managers are coming from. They can come from business management. They can come from business analysis. A lot of BAs are becoming product managers. They can become from customer support or customer success. And I know a lot of people that did that, and they're actually amazing product managers. And the reason is because they know that they will do it within the same company. So they will first spend a couple of years in customer support. They will know everything about the product, in and out, all the different issues with the product or how exactly to use it and the workarounds of the product on one hand. And on the other hand, they will also have the greatest empathy to users because they spoke for a couple of years with users. So they know what the users want. They know what users are trying to achieve. They know what other things that can be built. They have empathy to the users, and all of those things are very important for a product manager. So it's actually some of the best product managers I worked with came from this background. Other people come from sales, again, because they know the product, they have empathy to people, they hear what people want when they buy or choose a product, or they can be subject matter expert, SMEs. They have a specific expertise. So you will see in some companies, product managers that don't have all the different backgrounds that we might have. I worked in a startup that we build a search engine for lawyers. We have product managers that was actually a lawyer, and he decided he doesn't want to practice law, but that was his subject matter expertise, and he became a product manager. So you could also come from that background. Founders are actually a great source of product managers as well. I worked last year with a couple of founders that were trying to build a startup. I was advising them to their startup. And then the startup didn't work out. They didn't have enough money. No one wanted to invest it. It just wasn't working. But then both of them found positions as product managers because the companies that hired them saw right away what they did as founders. And they were like, oh, you already have the experience of building something, managing a product, etc. So don't be discouraged if you're not coming from this technical background, because as you can see, there is a lot of other places where you can come from. And more, of course. Now, what are the product manager's competencies that you need to have in order to be a good product manager? So I divide the world of product management to 4. The first one is SME, so know what the product is about, what problems it's trying to solve, and be a subject matter of that. The second thing is technical, so how the product is built, all the technical stuff around it. The third thing is a product, so you need to know how to build products, and it doesn't matter if you're building a product for a legal search engine, or you're building a product for airport management, or you're building a mobile app. There is always those things that you have to do in order to be successful in product. You have to know who the users are. You have to do discovery. We will talk a bit more about that later. And then the fourth thing I see that product managers need to have is they need to be human. There is a lot of humanity in product management, and I will talk about each one of them a bit more in details in the next slide, so you will see what I mean. So SME, how can you become? What are the different things that can help you, as an SME? So things from your background. So if you have specific things in your background, and when I'm saying background, I mean how you grew up, but it could also mean what you learned, what you went to school for. So if you're a lawyer, like I mentioned before, or right now I'm actually working in risk thinking, and at risk thinking we're dealing with climate change risk, and we have a couple of product managers that came from climate science. So they have this SME expertise or know-how that I don't. That's the first time I'm working with climate-related products. So I actually have to learn all of that on the job. But for them, it really helped them to get into the job because of this background that they have. From your passion, some of us has passions that we don't think are related to our jobs, but they could be related to maybe other jobs we're trying to get. So for example, if your passion is in the arts, or your visual arts, or writing, or traveling, or things like that, you can always look into places where build products that are related to that. And these days we build products, technical products, software products in every aspect of our life. So if your passion is in travel, there is so many different products that are related to traveling, and maybe there is a way to use your passion in getting into that from your experience. So this is quite similar to what I mentioned before about from your background, but experience could be things that you build, that you worked on in one company, and then you can apply them to another company. So if some of you have already worked, you're not just out of school, but you already have some experience working in different areas. If you're an accountant, or if you're whatever it is, and you have that specific experience, this is something that you can definitely apply towards a product manager position, that a software or a product that's associated with that specific experience. Now, technical is still important. It's still one of those competencies. But what I wanted to highlight is that as a product manager, you don't really need to know everything. There is a lot of technology, and I can tell you one of the reasons I moved from technology. I was a software developer for 20 years, and I managed software teams, and I was a CTO of a startup. So I did a lot of many different things technically, but I got tired of learning new software languages and new technologies. The technologies and the languages are developing so quickly that if you don't learn them and you move to the new ones, you're kind of become obsolete after a while. In product management, you don't need to know all of that because you're working with the technical team. They are responsible for the solution. They're responsible for building. You're the one responsible for the product itself. So you don't really need to know everything. It's good to know some things. So there is key technologies that you might want to learn. The main thing to learn them is so you have a bit more understanding of what the team has to deal with. So sometimes it's about building empathy to the team. We are talking in product management, about building empathy to your users, but empathy to the developers is also not less important, because there is a lot of complexity in building software and building good software and quality software. So when you learn some of the key technologies, you have a better empathy to them. And you can always, that's something that you should always do when you work in a team, befriend a technical person. When you befriend them, you start to understand, what they have to deal with. They can teach you some of the things. You can ask them to explain to you, in ways that will be understood to you without that technical background, which will be also a good exercise for them, because technical people need to do that in order to communicate better with the non-technical people. So there is things you could actually do to help you with that, and you don't need to have that full technical background. And the last thing is to learn no-code technologies. We're actually very lucky these days, because we live in a world that there is a lot of products out there that are no-code products, that you can build a lot of things without having any technical background. The reason that I really love this, to be able to learn no-code technologies and to apply and use them, is not in order to build the product itself, because sometimes no-code technologies are not scalable enough, they're not strong enough to support a full-blown product. But it's more for you to have tools so you can actually use to do your job as a product manager better. What do I mean by that? Sometimes we have to build mockups, or we have to build prototypes, and no-code tools are actually quite fit, that stage in the product management process, because you can build things quickly, and then you can get a better understanding of the components that are included in that. For example, where is the data stored? How do I show it to the user? What is the flow that the information flows across the system? From that, you can get a better understanding of some of the technical aspects without needing to be technical about that. And there are some very good no-code platform these days. Some of them are more technical, some of them are less technical. They're all no-code, but I found some of them to be a bit more challenging for people that don't have technical background. They have the higher learning curve, and some others that are very simple that almost anyone can use them. So I really encourage you to look into that. I also include here a couple of sources. So if you want, you can use your camera to scan this code quickly. This is an article that I wrote last year, so it's 2021, about top 5 product manager technical skills that you might want to learn. Things like SQL, things like HTML. Again, you don't have to go to all the details, and it depends also on your job. And sometimes in your job you might need some of them, sometimes you might not. Sometimes you will not need it, but if you have them, it will make your life easier. Only because you will not need to go to a developer to ask for, can you get me this? Can you get me that? You can dive into things a bit more. But again, this is just a suggestion. And then another source for you here related to no-code technologies. In my podcast, The Product for Product, we covered a few of those in episodes 44 to 49. So if you search for my podcast, either through my LinkedIn profile that I will share at the end, or on Spotify or Apple Podcast, or almost any podcast platform out there, the podcast is available, and you listen to this series, this episode, you will hear what no-code technologies is all about, what benefits it can give you, and some examples. We're talking about specific products in there, like Bubble and Glide and some others. So if you didn't have a chance to scan this yet, don't worry. I can also share this at the end. The next thing is about products. So, what are the things you need to know, a competency for products? So there is a lot of them, and none of them really is technical. So that's why you don't have to worry of not having a technical background, because this is really important to be a good product manager. So how to do discovery for a product, how to prioritize between different features or needs of people, how to work with stakeholders and team. That's really important to know. How to iterate. And so there is really a lot of things that you need to do there. And I'm sure that's some of the things that you learn through this program, through this series of discussions and talks. But there is also a lot of books, and I'm sure that most of you or all of you have already heard about these books. These are like I think my 4 favorite books that I always tell people that they should read. The 2 Marty Kagan books, Inspired and Empowered, the Dan Olson, the Lean Product Playbook, and Teresa Torres' Continuous Discovery Habits. But there is plenty of other books and other resources out there about product management. But I think this is really, important to learn, and you don't need to be technical at all to do that. And then the last thing is human. So what does human means really? And to me, there is a lot of things that required to be a good product manager that is part of that. Empathy is a very big one. When you ask a lot of groups of product managers, what's the number one things that you need to have as a product manager, they will tell you empathy. Because we need to understand, not just understand, but really get into the minds of our users and get what pains them and what are the jobs they're trying to do and stuff like that. And so you really need to have good empathy to them. And I also mentioned before, empathy to our developers and technical people, but it doesn't stop there. You need also to have empathy to the salespeople, especially in your B2B, because they're trying to sell, they have their quotas to meet, et cetera, et cetera. You need to have empathy to your stakeholders. You need to have empathy to everyone, basically. At the end of the day, the only people that we don't have empathy is to ourselves, but that's a different problem. And then humility is another thing that is really important for product managers. And the reason is because we need to understand that we don't know everything, and most of them, we don't know anything. And when I'm saying that, what I mean is that we should not make assumptions. We should not think we know everything about anything, because when we do that, we build products that are not necessarily going to work. What we need to have is this humility to know, I don't know everything. I need to verify what I don't know. I need to check it with users. I need to see that these things that I'm thinking will work will actually work. So many people that don't have that will, just build the first thing that's coming to their mind because they think they know the best. And then when they try to release it and give it to users, no one will use it because they don't care or whatever. So that's where the humility is important, that we don't know everything. Curiosity to see what people are doing, to learn about the world, to see what the competition is doing out there, to look into new technologies, what is available out there. So curiosity is also an important thing for a product manager in my mind. Negotiation is important because we cannot make everyone happy. And many times we'll have to negotiate. And this is a skill, it's a human skill, to be able to talk with people and negotiate, give and take. What is it that you need that I can give you? What is it that I need that you can give me? Where can we meet in the middle? There are many different things related to that. Speak your mind. Most, if not all, the product managers that I worked with in the past are very outspoken. They basically are not afraid to speak their mind, because it's important to be out there and share your ideas, and also listen to other people's ideas. So there is, again, this give and take. And the last one that I put here is nice but firm. Nice is because I always love to work with nice people, but firm is because sometimes you have to say no. So you cannot be nice to everyone, and then at the end of the day, you will not be able to make everyone happy, and that's a fact. There is no way to do that. So to me, a great product manager has both of these qualities, that they're nice, they're not like, mean or rude or anything like that, but that's in general a human trait that I'm looking at with everyone that I'm working with. But they're also firm, that there is a reason why we're doing things, and we cannot say yes to everyone, etc., etc. Now, I talked about these 4 competencies, and then the question is, what is more important? Are they all the same importance? So here I put on this graph, 25% for each one of those. And the question is, if this is the distribution of these competencies, then being a technical background, should take really maybe a quarter of your time, or anyone's time, to get hone their abilities. And technical actually could be a very hard thing to learn for some people, so maybe it will take much more than the 25%. But this is where we have to prioritize, where do we want to spend our time improving on what we don't know, or what we need to improve on. But in my opinion, this is not the right distribution. The right distribution is more like this, where, to me, being an SME and being technical, it's really only 10% of the job. But knowing how to build products and being a human is the rest, kind of divided between the two. And I think this graph shows, for people without technical background, how, not that it's not important, but how other things are much more important than that. And I can tell you from my experience, being in product management in the last 11, 12 years, that being an SME for me was not really important, because I moved, every job that I took as a product manager was in a different type of product. The first one was in loyalty programs for airlines and hotels, etc. I had nothing to do with loyalty programs before. I had nothing to do with the travel industry. I never built any software in my life that related to that. And I was still able to get the job. And on the job, I was there for 3.5 years. I learned a lot about loyalty programs. Now, you might think that now I'm stuck into this loyalty program life, and every job I have to do will be with a loyalty program. But that's wrong. The next job that I worked on was virtual data rooms. That is something completely different. The next job that I did was that company with the legal research that I mentioned. Again, nothing I never worked on legal systems. The next one was with a company that was a staffing agency for human resource, so finding contractors. Again, I never worked in staffing agencies, so I worked over there for 3 years, and I learned a lot about the staffing environment and staffing business. And now my new job is about climate change. So again, something I never worked before. So this is, I think, is actually the least important one, because you can learn a lot of that, and you can bring from your experience from the past new views that people in that industry may never had before. Technical, again, as I mentioned, there is a lot of things that I don't need to be very technical to do my job. And that's where product is really important, because without this, I would not be able to move between these positions, because I learned how to do product management, and I learned how to do different things related to product management. And then the human part is throughout my career, I built my empathy to users and how do I listen to them. I build my humility about I don't know everything. I need to learn that. I need to get the data for that. And those are those are the things that are really important as product managers. So how do you break in? We talked a lot about these competencies, but how do you break in into product management without technical? So I divided here again into a few things. First of all is by learning. Second, and we'll talk about each one of these in the next slides. Second is by aiming to your strength. Third is by aiming to side positions. And last thing is by doing. So by learning, there is a lot of things that you can learn. And this is where you take those four competencies, the SME, the technical, the product, and the human, and you see what is it that you feel you need to learn, you need to be better at. And there are tools out there that you can evaluate yourself. I don't know if they break down to these four parts, but maybe I will put a tool like that sometime in the future to help people. But in general, you can assess yourself and say, how well do I know how to build products? The product management part. How technical am I? But is it really important for me to learn a lot of technical stuff because it's only that 10% that I need to know? So maybe it's a lower priority, and maybe I will just focus on one or two things that are important for me right now. On an SME, it really depends on your position or where you're trying to get into. If you're aiming to work in, let's say, I don't know, let's say a bank. You really want to work in a bank. It's a very exciting bank, and they deal with mortgages, and it's like the best bank to work for to do mortgages. And you want to build some product that's related to that. Maybe that's what you want to learn a bit more, so you know to speak the language when you're interviewed. So you talk with people in that industry, and you might not become an SME, but you will get a much better understanding of the business. And you will be able to speak more the language and understand and ask questions, because sometimes this is important when you're interviewing for a job or you're trying to it's not just to answer their questions, but also to ask the right questions, to see your curiosity about it, etc., etc. Seek mentorship. Mentorship, I'm sure you know, it's extremely important, because someone outside of you with experience will be able to tell you what are the things that you can learn and help you with your next steps and stuff like that. Understand what are your strengths and weaknesses. So I touched a bit more about that before, to kind of evaluate yourself, what is that you're strong at, what is that you're weak at. Weaknesses are some things that we might want to improve on, but don't forget to improve also your strengths, because employer will hire you for your strength. So you want to make your strength even stronger. Right? And then don't forget that it's an ongoing life pursuit. Learning to me is one of the greatest things in life. I love learning new stuff, and that's probably why every few years I'm changing a job to a new industry, because I love learning about new industries and new things and stuff like that. So don't forget it. I know that some people after school, they don't want to touch, when you tell them about learning and stuff like that, they don't want to touch it anymore. But it doesn't have to be in a class. It doesn't have to be with tests or with exams or stuff like that. It's just, curiosity. You're curious about things, and make yourself a plan. This is what I want to learn this year, next year, etc., etc. Aiming to your strength. So this is once you know what your strengths are. So I'm very strong in this area. I'm an SME in this area. I'm very good in discovery. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter what it is. Then try to really aim towards that. And this is where not every product management position needs to be technical. So look into the positions in very details. If you're trying to break into product management, look into these positions and see, do they need technical background or not? And especially you will be able to tell sometimes by the hiring manager. So if you look at the hiring managers, like the hiring manager that hired me for my job, this job that I'm at Risethinking, he is the VP of product. So you would think he has like 20 years of experience as product manager, but actually he was never a product manager before. So he doesn't, I'm the one that bring in the product management expertise into the company. He is an SME in client change. So he brings that, and it doesn't really matter. So you can also look into that. Who is the hiring manager? And sometimes they will not have this technical background. They will look for someone that doesn't have the technical background. So it doesn't mean without the technical background you will not be able to get good jobs. And then pick and choose the position you are strong at. So don't try to apply to every position. This will be a waste of your efforts, and just like shooting in the dark. Try to really aim to positions that you feel that your strength will be helpful for the organization. Now, this is related to what I mentioned before about customer support agents that were able to move to product manager positions, and they're really, really good at that. And this is what I call the side position, where you aim at the company. So you're saying, I want to work at this company as a product manager, but maybe you don't feel, or you don't think that you have enough strength to be a product manager over there. So you look into, okay, do they have a customer support positions? Then you started the position over there. So it could be customer support, customer success, sales, QA, business analyst, etc. And then you aim to the product management role. And what I mean by that, where even when you interview, you don't have to hide it. You can tell your hiring manager, listen, I'm really interested in product management, but I want to learn everything about the business. I want to spend a couple of years in customer support, let's say, and then I will try to move into product management. That's another approach. Another approach is you can look at companies and you can find people that work there and see if there is this movement between different departments. Because if there is abilities within the company to move in between different departments, that's where you can actually make that move even after you are customer support for a couple of years, and then you see all of a sudden there is a position open for a product manager in the company. And many times the companies will open it first for internal people to apply, because they know you, they don't need to train you, especially if you know the product in and out. You will have a very good leverage over anyone else that comes from outside of the company. So that's how I've seen it done really, really well. But you can plan that up front in your career progression. And if you have enough patience and you're willing to do that, I think it could be very helpful. And I can tell you, one of those customer success manager that I was working with, product manager that came from customer support. She actually, when she was hired to customer support in that company, this is where we build virtual data rooms. She came as her background, she's an architect. So she moved from Ireland to Toronto. She was an architect in Ireland. She decided she doesn't want to do architecture anymore. And she just applied to the customer support position. She got in. She was a star. She was really, really good at that, even though she didn't have any background in that. And then after 2 years, the product manager director saw how good she was, and he was like, you have to move to be a product manager over here. So again, no technical background unless you consider architecture, building, how to build a building is a technical background for that. And the last thing is by doing. And what I'm saying doing is build something. You want to build something, and this is the really, in my mind and many other people's mind, the only way to understand how to do product management. I'm not talking about learn how to do product management, because you can learn by reading books, you can learn by taking classes or reading blogs or whatever it is. But you will not really understand how to build a product without building something. So what I'm saying here is, don't wait to get the job to build something. Build something on your own to get the experience. And this, I know, could be tricky to some people, but like I mentioned before, the two founders I was working with, they decided they have an idea, they wanted to build something. They didn't wait for anyone to give them permission to build it. They just went and joined, found a few developers that were willing to work with them and build something. and they found me as an advisor, and I was advising them. They had some, their own money, or they basically got some maybe friends and family angel seed money. At the end, it didn't work, but by doing what they did, they built something. They got the experience of trying something, failing, and then this will really give you advantage over someone that didn't build anything in the past. And the next thing is build lots of things. So don't just build one thing, but really try to build different things. Now, I want to help you with that. And I know that, there are many different programs and stuff like that. So what I was thinking recently is about, how can I help aspiring product managers, founders. And I'm thinking not high tech, not a software, not anything. I'm actually thinking that low tech, something very, very, very low tech. So I came up with this, I call it the product manager notebook, because I noticed that when I talk with people that I mentor, so mentees, and I coach them, everyone are taking notes in a notepad or a piece of paper or something like that. So I know that it's a low tech thing, but what I wanted to do with that is to give a bit of a flow of inside the notebook of how to build a product. And that flow comes with a set of questions. So you can try it out. It's free. Don't worry about it. If you try it out, you will be my beta users. So I'm trying to treat it again as a product. And this is just an example of me having an idea for something, and I'm trying it, I'm building it, and I created the first version. I'm looking for users, so I had this opportunity to talk with you guys. I'm like, okay, I will give it to you and see what happens. And I'm talking with a few other groups like that, so similar to you, a few other groups, and we'll see. This is, again, there will be iterations over there. So what I put it online. So again, it's a QR code here, so you can scan that and you can download it. Because it's a notebook, the idea is that you actually print it, and then you have white paper and you can take notes, etc. But it has a prompt in each page. It has a prompt for you with questions, and then you answer those questions related to whatever product you want to build. So the first chapter is actually about ideas, so ideation and selecting which product you want to work on. And then all the following chapters is about, what are the next steps? What do I have to do now? And then it's white space. So it's prompt with questions. I don't answer the questions for you because it's about your product, not about my product. But at least I'm trying to guide you through that. So that's it. These are my, I hope this was helpful for you. This is my, some of my information. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with anyone. This is my website, my podcast that I mentioned a few times, and also my book, The Resurrector. If you're interested to read fiction, it's available on Amazon, and also on Audible as audiobook. And then I put here again the QR code for the notebook. And perfect. We have another 15 minutes for questions or whatever it is.
All right. Thank you very much, Moshe. Thank you very much. It's been an amazing session, and I believe everyone has learned a whole lot from this. Right. So let's just get right into the question. I had a bio idol. Kindly unmute yourself and ask your question.
Let me unshare my screen. So,
hi, Moshe.
1 second. Yes. And if you have the option to put the camera, I would love to see also your face, but you don't have to. It's up to you.
I'm not. I'm moving, so I can't show my face.
No worries. No worries.
My picture is there though, if that works. Anyways, so what really got me interested in this session was the fact that you're literally giving tips on how to break into product management from not tech background, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to be very specific. I'm from a marketing/brands background, and I literally want to break into tech, right? So
Mm-hmm.
any specific tip? I mean, that's what drew me into product management from the first place, because
Yeah.
I was just thinking I can't jump to UI UX, I can't jump to cybersecurity or any of those, tasking.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So any specific tips on breaking into tech from marketing background from a cost point of view and a job application point of view?
Yeah, absolutely. A market, if you would ask, look at positions 15 years ago for product managers, they would actually mean marketing product manager, because this is where originally this position started from. These days, product manager is more into, building the product with the team, but marketing product managers are still a large section of positions out there. So marketing product managers means you're usually in the marketing team of a software company, let's say, and you will be focusing on the product and be somewhere between the product team and the marketing team. Things like competitive analysis, things like go-to-market activities that you have to do in order to get the product out there. So this could be one of those side positions you can start as. That's one thing. If you want to go directly into a product manager position, you could try to focus on your strength related to things that are about the product. So look at what you've done in marketing in the past. Was it and marketing is a vast area on its own. So I'm not sure what exactly your expertise in marketing is, but try to see what could be transferable towards product management. Now, for that, you need to know, what the language of product management that people are looking for. And that's are the things you can look in the positions description, right? So you can see in the position description for a product manager, what are the things that trigger for you, this is something similar to what I've done in marketing, and therefore highlight that in your resume when you apply.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. Any more questions from everyone? I'm sure there is more. You can maybe raise your hands, or there are a couple of raised hands I see. Emmanuel?
Okay, thank you very much
Mhm.
for your presentation.
Of course.
I think it's very deep and insightful. But I want to know, you were talking about build, and I want to know what if you say build, what are some of the things that you can build on yourself? For instance, if you don't want to rely on, or maybe you are searching for jobs and it's not coming, and you want to build something. Yes, because you have to gather experience before you.
So there are lots of things that you can actually build, and that's where also those no-code platforms can be very, very helpful. So you can build, a website about yourself or about someone else or whatever it is. You can build an app, even a mobile app, and with these no-code platforms, it's actually quite easy. I, for example, built this app for my sorry. Yeah. So I for example, I built an app using one of those no-code platforms with an Excel spreadsheet. So I had an Excel spreadsheet of all the different episodes in my podcast, and I created an app that you can see. You can scroll through that, and you can see the details, and it takes you to a link to listen to it. So it took me maybe an hour to build the product, and then because it was so easy on that platform, on the no-code platform, and it took me the longest time was to make sure my spreadsheet has all the information. But spreadsheets it's just I'm sure you know how to use spreadsheets, and then the thing is, you have to think about who is going to use this. How do I get to these people? How do I tell them about it? What do I need to learn from them is the product useful or the product is not useful? And they tell me, okay, this feature here I don't care for, but this feature here I really love, or it's missing this feature. So this is doing. This is what I mean by doing, because you cannot build a product on your own. You have to build a product with the people that, with the users. And you also will never build a perfect product on the first release. You will have to iterate and iterate and build and build and build. Think about Microsoft Word or iPhone. How many versions they released so far? And the only reason they released so many versions so far is because their first version was never perfect. People asked for more, or people asked for less, and they came up with new ways to do things. So that's how a product is always like that. So if you download my notebook, it will guide you through ideas on how to generate ideas. Like, think about what bothers you on a daily basis. What problem do you have, or what passion do you have? And then you scribble down those things, and from that you might come up with some ideas about something to build. And this thing to build, don't think about monetization. Don't think you will going to sell them and be rich or whatever it is. It's not for that. I mean, if it happens, awesome. I want to hear about it. But think about the experience you're getting by building it, and then you can mention, when you can talk about this in an interview, or you can mention it in your resume that you build these specific things, right?
All right. Thank you very much, Moshe, for that one. Let's have Moses. Moses, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Moshe.
Hello.
I have this question. Yeah, I was reading through a book some times back, and basically talking about Steve Jobs and how he was able to build an iPhone. And one of the things that came into my mind was the fact that Steve Jobs never asked anyone if they really wanted an iPhone or not. And there's so much noise these days in the field of product management, talking about you have to be empathetic, you have to talk to your customers to know exactly what they want to do. So I'm trying to draw a line here. So at what point does a product manager just try to be innovative, just build something out of the blues, or must we always work with customers?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think there is a place for both of them for sure. And this is one of the pitfalls that we can have when we ask users for everything. Because users only know what they know based on their experience of the world, or based on how they do things today. But they don't know what might be available out there, because they're really in that specific place where they are. So if we only ask users and we only do things based on what they tell us, this is where innovation might not happen. We are the ones, and when I say we, I mean, like, usually it's a team. So it's a product manager, it's a designer, it's a developer. So we work together, and we are the one that can come up with new ideas how to solve the problem of the user, because of our experience that we bring to the table. So this innovation. So Steve Jobs, he had he was very, very strong on the design. He was actually a designer more than anything, and that's why he had this amazing genius head thinking about the iPhone and that stuff. But he is not the only one. There is many, most innovation come that way from people that think about new ways to do something to solve a problem. And the problem might be solved in other ways already in the past, but this is a new way to do that, right? So I think it's both ways. You have to, if you have an idea of something, or you come with a new approach to solve a problem, you don't necessarily have to ask listen to the users before that and say, okay, I'm not going to use my idea because the user told me that. What you want to do is to try your idea, but don't build it all the way to the end, because it might not work. Build a mock-up, build a prototype, whatever it is, show it to the users and get their feedback. And then you will see from that feedback if the users are telling you, oh wow, I never thought I was able to do something like that. This is what you want to look for, because then that's what happened with Steve Jobs. When he showed the iPhone, no one thought about it before, but when he showed it to everyone, everyone was like, wow, I want that, right? So, and then it became like the standard for every smartphone out there. So there is both. You have to do both, really.
All right, thank you very much. I hope Moshe has answered your question, right? So let's have you, Fawaz Lasisi. Can Fawaz Lasisi unmute himself? All right, while we wait for Fawaz.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening.
Okay.
Hello.
Good evening. Yes. So I just wanted to ask for project management. So what are these skills you need to be able to be good at the project management? Because I know we have some soft skills, some technical skills, and also we have some applications like software applications you can use to create a very good or work for project management.
Mm-hmm. So
And that's
like what? I'm not sure I understand what the question is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I said, okay, what are the necessary skills you need when you are a project manager?
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, okay, we have some skills, some certain skills like software skills, and you also mentioned some technical skills, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And also said applications, software applications you can use to work as a project manager.
Right.
All right,
yeah, that's
Fawaz,
the question.
Sorry. So are you asking, what are the specific skills that you need or specific products that you need?
Skills. Yeah, skills.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to to mention all of them in one answer because there is a lot of them. But and I'm sure that in the series of workshops like this, you will learn more about that. But in general, some of the skills are to understand who the users are. So build user persona, know how to get to those users, interview the users, draw inspiration from what users are telling you towards, what are things that you can try to build. Work with the team to build this. So you need to define to the team what to build more from the user perspective, not from the technical perspective. So you need to know how to write user stories, for example. And then think about the different things that needs to be done in order to take your product to the market. What are the, so there is a lot of skills, really. It's there is not one specific skill, and you learn them as you go when you understand that.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Of course.
Very much that one, Moshe. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing session. So we'll just take the last hand up. That's from Samson Leah. Leah, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Okay, thank you very much, Moshe. It has been an amazing session so far. So,
Sorry, I'm hearing some music.
hello?
Yeah, I'm hearing some music from someone.
Not me though.
So maybe other people can mute.
Okay.
I'm also sharing the last screen because someone asked about the QR code, so I have it here. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Moshe. It has been an amazing session so far. So my question is, as someone in the human resource field, I'm a human resource professional. How do I incorporate project management into my career? And can people be products? Like, can we manage people as product the way we do with other products like web design, websites, apps, and all of that? So that's my first question. And I really want to know how I can incorporate project management into the human resource field.
That's
So
a
that's my
very,
question.
very, very interesting question. I never thought about that, but one thing you want to be careful, that's also about language and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
Is, do you want to call people products? Because people, if you would be called a product, how would you feel about that, right?
Oh,
So that's definitely something to be careful about.
okay.
I think that it depends. Maybe it's the areas of specific things that you're trying to develop in your human resource, in your HR program. So let's say you have I'm not sure about your position, but let's say you have you are in a team of human resource, and you're building specific different programs that are related to that, like safety in the workplace, like benefits, like hiring and firing and stuff like that, right? So each one of those things that you have to develop as part of your position, you can treat that as a product, and you can say, okay, what's the minimum viable product? What's the minimum thing I have to do in order to do that? And then how do I make sure that the users of this product are happy about it? Now, the users of these products are you, your team, but also the other people in the company that you have to service as part of your human resource servicing. So you can ask them, you can interview them, you can get their feedback, and then improve, iterate on it. So treat each one of those services that you have to provide as an HR person as a product. So I will not try to treat people as a product. Now, people specifically, yes, I'm sure there is also programs that you have to help the company with getting people improved in their work, and how do they iterate to become better employees, better at what they do, better professionals, whatever it is. So maybe that's another program that you can treat as a product.
Okay.
I hope that helps.
Yes, sir. That helps a lot. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, Moshe. There are no hands up anymore. I believe that ends our session. Thank you so much. It's been an insightful session. The part where you said,
My pleasure.
yeah, the part where you said improve your weaknesses and don't get carried away doing that and not improving your strengths. It really stuck to me. And yeah, I as well. I believe every other person has learned a whole lot from this session. I bring you greetings from the founder of Enoverlab and the co-founder and everyone on the team. On the Enoverlab team, we appreciate you so much. Thank you for coming, to share your experience, to share tips, to share lots of insights, and we're so grateful. The community is also saying thank you very much as well. We have a community, Enoverlab community, right? We are grateful. Thank you so much for sharing all that you can share with us. We are grateful once again. And yeah, that ends today's session. So,
Thank you
Enoverlab
very
is a
much. I
product
really appreciate
management
it. And
yeah, so we're a product management institute, and we provide in-depth training and mentorship to aspiring product managers, right? And our mission is to empower product talent for today, tomorrow, and the future, right? So thank you all very much, especially Moshe. Thank you so much. God bless
thank
you.
you, everyone. My
Yeah.
pleasure. And I will send you the PowerPoint. So if you want to have it on your website and share it with everyone, and if anyone is using this notebook, I will really appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. We're going to share the notebook on our community shortly.
Sure.
The feedbacks, somehow it will get to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. Do have a wonderful weekend.
I asked,
See
weren't
you
there
next
two
week.
QR codes that were shared?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I will send it. It will be in the presentation when we share the presentation.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. See you next week on another product session. Bye.
Bye-bye.
No photograph today.
Hey, we forgot to. All right. Let's put on our video and let's just take our pictures. Can you people see my face?
A lot of people just left. So
We
it
cannot
will
see
be like
your
a
face.
cheat.
We are seeing
Right.
blessings face today.
A lot of people left, so it will be
First
like a
time
cheat.
today.
That's my face brighter and brighter. All right, guys. Bye. Oh, okay. This is our session, our people session. Well, Matthew, why are you showing us?
All
Okay.
right, now. All right, guys.
All right, guys. Bye.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.